Well, hello everyone. Don't worry, I'm not going to go from almost never uploading anything to inundating YouTube. I'm going to push my luck any further than I need to, I suppose. I did have an opportunity today. I'm up in the bush again, having a pretty nice day, although it's below freezing, so that's merciful for everyone, I suppose, because I'm only going to be able to hold up the camera with a bare hand here for so long. Just out exploring today, checking out a few roads that I have been up before, and then also some additional roads I hadn't been up, and getting some GoPro footage and trying to sync up some audio recording, trying to get a good ambient sense for what it sounds like when you're driving up these roads. You know, a lot of people who are familiar with videography, not saying that I am, would suggest that audio is every bit as important as video. So everybody's, hell bent on getting the magic 4K or beyond, 10-bit color and all of the good things, right? And often what goes by the wayside is sound, and it's actually a little bit on the difficult side to get sound with what I'm doing, because I want to hear the truck, I want to hear the gravel, the rocks under the tires a little bit. I don't obviously want a bunch of wind noise. I don't want a bunch of rattles, because of course the interior of the truck, even if it didn't have rattles, I've got gear in there. I've got several tote cases full of DSLR cameras and other things that I bring up with me, and the audio recorder itself. So I've been trying to figure out a good balance to get that done, so that when I finish these videos, I can have sound that really puts you in the moment and feels and sounds like exactly what it is, right? A truck driving up these gravel roads without being grating or annoying or anything like that. The other thing that I want to do as well, and it'll probably have to wait till next year, I'd like to get a second two-way radio and run the audio right off the speakers wires from that radio, attenuate it down, and run that right into the field recorder, so that I can get pure audio from the two-way radio. And like I said, I'll just buy a cheap one of those Baofeng two-way radios, the really cheap ones, and sacrifice it to that purpose. I won't be able to hear it and I won't use it. It'll just be a receiver, and it can be, wherever in the truck. I'll just run a second antenna onto the roof. And then that way I can get the audio from the two-way radio, because really it's quite interesting sometimes, It's informative. It does help because you sort of get an idea of where you are and what industries in the area. But you get some interesting conversations, and some of the conversations are technical. It'll be a guy in a log truck talking to the loader, or it could be a low boy operator coming up to pick up a cat, a caterpillar, a crawler, a dozer, and talking to the crew at the site. Here I am, I'm at the landing, bring it down or whatever. Or it can be guys talking about going to the Guns N' Roses concert in Vancouver or something, next weekend, and who's opening for them and all of this kind of silliness. Obviously, that kind of radio traffic should be kept to a minimum, but it is kind of funny when it occurs. So that's sort of what I'm out doing today, testing a few foam blocks that I'm putting some lavalier microphones in and then running them inside the cab of the truck. I've got a Zoom H6 with a XY microphone suction cup to the windshield, and I'm getting some interior audio from that, and that is picking up my two-way radio. But the problem is, again, you're getting all the rattles and everything from inside the truck. Outside the truck, you're not really getting that. So I'm having some success with the lav mics in the foam blocks. I've just got them pinned under my roof rack, and they've been staying there, sort of a friction fit. I just stuffed the big foam cube in there, and it seems to be holding. We'll see what the audio sounds like when I get home. One other thing I wanted to mention before I go, again, I said this will be merciful for everyone involved. I'm going to make it short. I have started uploading some of what I would call lost uploads. And again, not to inundate YouTube, but I should really get them off my phone and put them up there. They may not be interesting to anyone. These are videos I intended for YouTube, and these came back, over the years. I mean, I've got these lost uploads. Are not lost, of course. So they go back quite a ways, and not all of them are going to get uploaded to YouTube. I've got to sort of approve of them myself first, so I'm watching some of these over again. I did upload one, I think, yesterday, and there's a part 2 of that one that has to do with our modern discourse, is really what I was speaking of, at least during parts of the video I uploaded yesterday, but I continued that conversation from my house several days later or something like that. And it's interesting in light of a lot of things that I'm noticing now, again, about the state of our modern discourse. And as I've always said in previous videos years ago, we're misusing the tool. We're misusing all of the tools, unfortunately. If anyone's interested in sort of talking about that, I would be happy to make make a video specifically on that. But in the meantime, I'm going to upload this other video at some point. It'll be sort of a part 2 of the lost uploads from May 2022, I think is the one I uploaded yesterday. Anyway, I'm going to go. As you can see, it's very cold, but the sun is out. So I'm going to refill my coffee mug here from the thermos. Yes, it's still hot. It's 3 in the afternoon or something. Still hot, which is unbelievable. Do a little bit of exploring here. And then I'm going to start heading home because I don't have my InReach device, the Garmin InReach device. I didn't activate it this year, and I'm not even sure why I didn't. And I've always been able to find areas where I can find one tiny little bar of cell service and text my wife and let her know I'm okay. But today, there's no cell range anywhere where I'm at. So I kind of think I'm going to shut her down early today because I don't want her at home worrying. And next year, I'm going to just make sure that I get the InReach subscription back up. I usually do whenever I'm out in the bush. And that way I can send her messages all day long if I want, and every one of them is a breadcrumb, right? Latitude, longitude are tagged with each message. I don't know why I didn't do that this year, but now it's too late in the year to bother. I don't know how many more times I'm going to come up. I'm luckily below the snow line today, but that's not going to last for much longer. I'm surprised where we are right now, but it's not going to last much longer. So I may not be coming up in the bush all that much more before the end of the season. Thanks very much for watching.